Hi, my name is Phoebe Hutchison. Thank you for watching this video on how to cure depression. I'm a counsellor and an author of 2 self-help books, and I love watching people cure from depression. Today, I'm talking about the symptoms of depression, the causes, and how you can help yourself right now, starting today. First of all, what are the symptoms of depression? Depression is very physical. You may have trouble sleeping. Your appetite may be impacted. You may want to eat more or eat less. You may have trouble concentrating, have a foggy brain. You may have low motivation. You may feel fatigued. And you may have a lot more negative thinking. I'm so glad that you found me so I can help you cure your depression. So what are the reasons for depression? Science hypothesizes that depression is due to an imbalance in our brain chemistry, mainly serotonin and dopamine chemicals, neurotransmitters in our brain. I tend to agree with this hypothesis, but I don't think it just happens out of the blue. I think it happens for a lot of reasons. It may be continual negative thinking. One of the main things I see is people who are oppressed, people who trap themselves in situations, who feel like they have no control in their life. That's a very big part of depression. Another reason why someone may have depression is unresolved grief. But I'd like to take you through more. Needless to say, depression is an imbalance in brain chemistry, but you can change this imbalance. You can take the power back. You don't need to say, this is a mental disorder, I've got it, it's inherited, it's in my family, and I need to put up with it. You don't need to put up with depression. You can make changes. What I'd really love you to do is grab an A4 piece of paper and draw a line down, a line across, another line down, and another line down. So you've got 8 sections, even sections. And this will be the crisis wheel. Sometimes I call it the life balance wheel. It's from my second book, Are You Listening? Life is Talking to You. And this is going to show you where you're going well and where you need help. I'm just going to go through this very fast, and I'm going to explain to you what you need to do. So with each question, give yourself a tick in that section, or a cross in that section, or a tick and a cross. Okay, starting off with the first one. So the first section is thoughts. Top left-hand side. Ask yourself, are your thoughts mostly positive, mostly negative, or a bit of both? So you're giving yourself a tick or a cross or a tick and a cross. The next section, going over to the right at the top, is self-esteem. Ask yourself, how do you see yourself as a person, as a parent, as a brother, sister, part of community, someone at work? Is it mostly positive or mostly negative? So score yourself there. The next section over is your grief and trauma section. Have you been through any operations? Have you lost anyone by death that you're still grieving over? The next section down is your emotions. Are they mostly positive or mostly negative? Positive emotions would be feeling happy, feeling joyful, excited, patient, feeling love. Negative would be feeling hate, feeling resentful, feeling frustrated, feeling annoyed, feeling bitter. So are they mostly positive or negative? Okay, almost at the end to the right is your body section. So ask yourself, are you eating healthy at least 3 times a day? And are you exercising at least 3 times a week? And are you impacted by any pharmaceutical or recreational drugs? This is all about your brain chemistry. So score yourself there. Overall, is it a tick? Overall, is it a cross? Or is it both? Going over to the left, your support networks. Are you happy in your relationship? And are you feeling supported? Do you have enough friends that you see? Feeling isolated is one of the worst things you can possibly do, and certainly feeling caged in or oppressed in your relationship or put down. There's lots of videos on YouTube that I've done on Honeymooners Forever, which is my first book, so feel free to watch those if you need help in your relationship. Going up here, we have your passions. Do you have any passions? And are you happy with the amount of passions you have? Feel free to write them in that area there. Going up to almost the top is, are you happy with what you do every day? Now, this normally means your work. Does your work make you happy? Sometimes you might need an attitude adjustment. Sometimes you may need a job adjustment or a job change. But your job makes such a big difference to your life. So what have we actually talked about here? We've talked about the crisis wheel, life balance. So I want you to do a quick add up. Now what I normally do is add up the crosses, and a half cross is just a half score. So you've got a tick and a cross here, that's just a half. If you've got a whole cross in one section, that's a 1. So I'm looking for a score out of 8. So there's only a possible 1 for each of the 8. So if your score is 4 out of 8 crosses, then that's half your life you're struggling with. So you do need help in those areas where the crosses are. If it's more than 4 out of 8 crosses, then you may be having suicidal thinking. So this is more urgent. Definitely see a counsellor, certainly, or a psychologist. Get my book. I've got answers to all these here and what you can do, which is, are you listening? Life is talking to you. But certainly get help. You can make the changes. I've seen it happen time and time again. I think one of the main reasons why my clients cure from depression fast, usually within 3 months, and certainly very effectively, is because I put the tools in your hands. So in general, what would be causing your depression? Certainly some people I've even seen a lot of people with suicidal thinking, and those areas are crucial. One man would not be here today if it wasn't for his passion, because that passion made him feel powerful, made him feel important. That was something that gave him purpose. And when someone's got suicidal thinking or even depression, they need links to life. They need reasons to be. So connecting to your passions is so important. This poor man was having a terrible time in his relationship, and even in his work, he wasn't feeling empowered. Here, work, relationship here, but certainly in his passion, he felt very alive. So I can't overstate the importance of passions. Now, your thoughts, my golly, your thoughts are really the rudder that steers your boat of life. So if you're having a problem with your thoughts, you really need to look at the subconscious. You really need to really examine that and look at what's causing your subconscious programs. So your programs about you, and that's what I talk about in the book, because they are things that are programmed in your subconscious since you were young. But right now, you are programming your subconscious. So a little tip here would be, never put yourself down. If you ever hear yourself putting yourself down, which you may hear because you're always listening to your brain, stop it and say, whoops, no, I'm not an idiot. I could have tried harder. Or I'm not a loser. I just made a mistake. You've got 70,000 thoughts a day. Now, it's very possible to change them. I've changed mine. I started on mine 20 plus years ago from reading Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. So I started my journey of changing my thought patterns, and you can start your journey. Many, many tools in my book of how I've done it and how I've seen many other people change theirs. Now, with your self-esteem, if you need a boost, get someone to help you write a list of your strengths and put them on the fridge or put them somewhere where you can see them. There's enough people out there trying to put you down, and the more love you can have and belief in who you are, the better you can go on your journey, and you are really avoiding the depression chemicals. So I need to say it again. I'm going back to thoughts. Your thoughts are so important. I'd like to say to you, you're going to have to work for the next 2 months, no extra pay, no weekends off. Yep, that's right. Work 2 months, no weekends off. Just imagine that scenario. What's happening in your body? Do you feel a bit sick in the stomach? A bit breathless? Angry? That's just one sentence, and I've changed your body chemistry. So how can you change that? Oh my gosh, so many ways. You can exercise. Exercise is like an antidepressant and anti-anxiety. It is like power packed. So basically, what does exercise do? Exercise favorably enhances and changes your serotonin and your dopamine in your brain, which is great for curing depression. So even if you walked 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week, that some of my clients have done to cure their depression, it's awesome. Whatever you can do. Exercise reduces cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Exercise increases endorphins, which is nature's way of making you feel amazing. Another thing you can do to help your depression, as we've talked about in the relationships section, you can actually improve your relationships. If you're in a terrible relationship, it can be the reason for your depression. When we feel oppressed, we can very easily get depression. Remember that feeling of caged in, controlled, that you have no power? That leads directly to depression, in my opinion, in my experience of seeing people with depression. So really strengthening those relationships. If it's a maladaptive relationship, maybe you need to see a counsellor. Do you need to be in this relationship? Strengthen or leave. And some friends are toxic. So we really need to look at these relationships. Sometimes you can confront friends and say, I really like you, but I can't tolerate this, what you do. I really hate it when you put me down. So it's really important that you do stand your ground and have boundaries. So what other areas? Emotions. Emotions are things that come and go. So start off with, what am I feeling? I'm feeling lonely. Why am I feeling lonely? It may be because you're alone and you're not going out anywhere and you're thinking the whole world's passing you by. What can I do that is positive and productive? So you can call or contact someone to organise next week. You can go on a dating site if you're single. There's certainly things you can do to put the power back into your hands. But once you know what you're feeling, you can start to process, and that's really important. What we don't want to do is just let it all build up and not process. So what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And what can I do positive and productive? Going to your body, eating healthy is really important, as I've already mentioned. Keeping that blood sugar level constant, so making sure that you are having those 3 meals, maybe fruit between meals, whatever's healthy for you. Too many people I see with anxiety and depression are neglecting their body, which is neglecting their brain. Vitamins. I would 100% recommend to anyone at all suffering with depression that they get into their B vitamins and magnesium, so that they're fantastic. So get a good quality magnesium and B vitamins. So I'm just thinking through that crisis wheel, thinking about what you can do right now to make the changes. Of course, grief. If you are suffering grief, if that grief and trauma section has a cross in it for you, then it's certainly time to go see a grief counsellor, or certainly connect to that grief. Grief is something that needs to be processed. Regardless of the loss that we've experienced, what we can't do is suppress that grief because it causes malfunction in us. So thank you so much for watching Cure Depression, my video on how to cure your depression. Feel free to watch my video on curing your anxiety and helping your relationship with my Honeymooners Forever series of videos.